And this has got a swing. May, June session, we were working on the 4th of July parade routine. Now, again, this is not something that people have to do, but we wanted everyone to learn the moves because they're pretty awesome. We started off with a few warm-up ideas to kind of help us build our toolkit, and one of them was being able to interrupt our Charleston with kick steps. So if you have your normal Charleston, you've got your back, forward, forward, and back, back, forward, and at any point we want to be able to go kick step, kick step, kick step, kick step, kick step, kick step, and then come out of it, back and back, back, forward, forward, and back, right? So
there's a logical point where you can do kick steps.
Right. So again, there's these kick steps that we can throw in there, where we put that on repeat. We also want ones where we can do kick, hold, kick, and we stay on one leg. That would look something like this. Back, forward, forward, and back. Here we go, back, forward, and kick, hold, kick, hold, kick, hold, kick, hold. You can see Caitlin's like shifting. I'm just holding one.
I wasn't sure how long.
Either one is fine, right? And then at some point we'll have a kick and back, rock step. The reason you want to build those toolkits into your Charleston moves is it helps with traveling, it helps with being able to keep that Charleston feel without being, how would I put it, chained to the bass format, right? So you'll see, like, sometimes I'll do a turn where I've got my rock, step, kick, hold, kick.
Yeah, normally when we turn and we don't do the full kick, hold, kick, that pattern gets broken up or simplified when you're doing a lot of traveling.
Right, and so...
Or a lot of spinning.
Yep, and there are some traveling Charleston moves in here, and so we wanted to make sure that we had that aspect to our Charleston somewhat developed. So that was one of the exercises we worked on. We also worked on the idea of fast swing outs. And again, if you think of our general swing out rhythm, it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 rock, step, triple, step, step, triple, step, right? If music gets too fast, those triples begin to be murder on your feet. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So instead what we do is we have a rock, step, 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 a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That limits the work your feet have to do, but that means you have to then account for it in the geography. And so if we're thinking about swing outs, I now have to adjust my shape and my steps to make it possible for me to do this with that sort of rhythm, right? So I have a step, step, hold, step, step, hold. So one thing you'll notice, I kind of met Caitlin halfway. If I'm doing a normal swing out, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Caitlin did most of the work.
We've got more steps. We've got all those triples for both of us to make adjustments. But when I'm doing this version, I like for myself to really plant on the 3 and then have my lead pivot me on the 3-4. And if I'm pivoting on one leg, I can't travel, which means if I am planted, I really need the lead to come to me and work with me and keep me on my balance point. So once I've picked my point, the lead really has to come to me. So
wherever that foot lands on 3-4, she's there. So I've got to be able to kind of meet her halfway. So we get a really good stretch on 7-8 so that we can 1, 2.
I've planted. I'm pivoting on my right foot. So if he's not with me, we're either too far away or he's going to pull me off center. It's really nice when they're close.
And part of that came from me, it's coming towards my partner, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? And so having a good stretch on the 4 and on the 7, 8 really is what helps this to where you're going fast, it's energetic, but you're still keeping your partner safe, right? So that was one thing as far as the fast one. And then we worked on fast circles, where again, same deal, no triple steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rocks. And I've got us into the side-by-side position, right? So Any other adjustments or
I mean, I
strategies?
can fudge the footwork a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. You can float it, you can tap it down. I kind of slide out of it. We had some people ask us if they could touch and tap. You certainly can. If you still want to reduce the work so that you're not doing triples, but if you are feeling wobbly and you need some balance, you can touch that foot down. You don't have to hold it in the air. That's fine. But most of my weight stays on one leg.
Yep.
For the 2 key pivot points.
All right. One last thing we did as far as technique, we worked on air steps, just the very beginning. Intro to that, we worked on frog jumps. And for this, we first practiced our
takeoff.
Down, our takeoff. So our 5, 6, 7, 8, down, up, down.
And we talked about Deborah's favorite thing, which is getting ready for takeoff, that she does at most every goddess swing dance. So we talk about always having bent, soft knees, staying balanced. We talked about we push off, we roll, we push off with the balls of our feet, we land first with the balls of our feet, and then we roll down. And we don't want to overland flat-footed, that's going to hurt our joints, right? So if you sound proud like an elephant, you probably hit too hard. But if you roll up and roll down, you should be able to jump quietly. So we practice that. So how to be safe and protect our joints.
Yep. And then the idea with the frog jump is that we're doing this together, but the leads are boosting the follow at the right point to help their jump get a little bit higher while still having a soft landing.
So we talked about how a lot of aerials and air steps in some ways are optical illusions. They're usually 50-50 or somewhere in the middle, and they are often the lead assisting and boosting the follow, but the follow should be in many ways self-powered and should be able to get safely into and out of the move themselves. So especially this one, I can very easily, I am controlling most of my motion. When done right, Robert is just letting me go a little higher and then cushioning my landing. Before we can do all that, he also needs to be a solid base. So remember your basic lifting techniques. If you weightlifting, maybe you were a cheerleader, maybe you did team building like I did. So a little bit like shoulder width, wider stance, right? Knees bent, solid,
Straight,
stable.
knees over toes, shoulders over knees. This is the stance that you want to have for the majority of what you're doing. If your legs aren't in line, it's harder to be as solid a base as you could be.
Yeah, so those are some basics. Safety with aerials. Now, as we talk specifically about the frog jump.
So a few points of connection. You'll notice we don't have the normal handhold. I've moved it to that more ballroomy handhold. This allows our palms to push against each other.
One, it's a good signal to me that we're about to do something else that we would verbalize before we do an aerial or an air step. The other thing is it gives me something to push off of. If I straighten my arm and Robert resists, that gives me one point where I can push off. The other one is I break my other rule, I can push off on the shoulder. So normally I tell my fellows flat hands on the shoulder blades because I don't like to get caught. And it's weird to hook your partner anyway. But in this case, I like to push flat on top because now I can use both arms to give myself a boost straight up. And that is my idea, is I want to look up, I want to go straight up and try to keep my center of gravity.
What I'm doing as a base is I rock step and come down with Caitlin and I'm waiting to feel her jump. Because if I go too early, then I'm lifting her and that's a lot more work for me. If I wait and I feel her jump and follow her, then my frame can push extra energy in at the right moment, and I'm gonna leave that energy in there, and as I feel her weight come down, I'm gonna resist a little bit and then let my knees bend to cushion her fall.
So we worked on the timing, and for the first couple ones, we just went straight up. We didn't try fancy legs or anything crazy. We're not trying to travel.
Tiny hops.
Yeah. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? So rock, step, down, up. Rock, step, down, up. We did a lot of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the more predictable the follows are, this helps, but it is really hard for the leads not to anticipate because you shouldn't just be paying attention to the counts. You really need to feel what your partner is doing. And that can be hard to do that role reversal.
Particularly if you hear the teacher teacher's voice saying to do something and your partner's
Or the
maybe not
music.
quite the time. Right. So the idea is really you don't want to follow the teacher's voice. You want to feel your partner jumping and you want to catch that moment as you follow them up. So again, we had a rock, step, down, up.
Now, what will happen, there's a sweet spot, and it can be really hard to find, especially if we're rotating partners. But there's a point where you come right behind me, and it lets me get a little extra height and a little extra air time. And then you want to help me resist down. If you lag way behind me, again, just like if you come early, you're lifting me rather than boosting me. If you lag too long, again, you are holding me up rather than cushioning my landing. And I find my tail, I start to tuck under because gravity is bringing me
The
down.
shape stops looking nearly as cool as it did.
Now, a couple ways I can counteract that. One, I can start working on those frog legs if I'm feeling comfortable bringing my legs up and in. But the other thing I can do, I find is, normally I like to be super well balanced, but especially when I'm doing this, I might start to push my tail out a little bit to counteract that resistance, because I find if my lead is resisting me a lot, my legs start to come under and I start to swing towards them. I don't know if we can show, it started to happen on the last one, but then I'll show you how I correct it.
This one's bad. So you can see where like gravity really had a hold of Caitlin, but I hadn't quite let her down, and her shape, instead of being straight up and down, started to really angle in.
And then he was doing more work, and then I.
So that was me overdoing it. That was me not.
So we're gonna correct that. I'm also gonna counteract it a little bit and stick my bum out to see if that helps. Not too much, because I don't want to throw us way off balance, but.
3, 4, 5, 6.
So more normal, yeah?
Okay, I think those were all the things we did to expand the toolbox. Now we should talk about the sequence. First part is a Charleston. We did a tuck with a double turn.
So a lot of you know a version of this. It's taught in the beginner class. We just refreshed it, and we added a little extra pizzazz on the end.
Right, looks something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
What did we add? That extra turn, yeah?
So that extra turn on the 7 to 8, the way I'm doing that leads, a normal tuck turn, I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm kind of dropping my hand by 5, 6.
Let's show that real quick for a refresher.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See how I dropped the hand on 5, 6, and Caitlin did one turn.
And that usually ends it for me, right? You go from high to low, and I'm like, down, back.
Because I'm doing an 8 count turn and I want it to go longer, what I do is I keep the hand on the back and I follow through on 5, 6 so that Caitlin's got energy going into 7 and 8 for the second turn.
So that combo of Robert's hand staying up signals probably another turn.
Yep.
And then that follow through, that long follow through.
Right, so again, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Now what else do I do? I'm doing the Charleston styling like we do in the beginner class before tandem. So I'm choosing, because we're in the Charleston section of the routine, I'm doing kicks instead of steps. Remember, rock, step, kick, kick, okay? But now we're gonna do that extra turn, and I'm feeling this is fast. I'm not gonna try to kick through this, so I'm gonna go step, step. So when I feel a fast turn, I often simplify things. So I did kick. Let me do my footwork again, and then we'll just count rock, step, kick, kick, and step, step, step. Now let's do the counts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so that's the start. The next one leads, I'm going to take this hand right here, and I'm gonna switch hands, bring my right hand to my waist, and do my follow around. And then we're going to turn, and I'm going to then spin her out. This takes 2 counts of 8. So the last, like the 5, 6, 7, 8 of the first count, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 is when we're doing that turnaround. So again, we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We do this with Charleston footwork that is not It's not the exact Charleston basic. It's some of those toolbox we were showing earlier. Looks something like this. All right. So that was 3 kick hold kicks for the leads. Follows your focus a little bit different.
Rock, step, kick, hold, kick, step. Or kick, hold, kick, hop. Kick, hold, kick, hop. Then I get a turn. 1, 2, 3. Rock, step.
I think yours is harder.
I think it is too. And that's why we will talk about what makes it easier for me. I am doing a lot of traveling and turning. So in some of our classes, one, let's get this clean, but then we talk about ways to modify it based on your comfort level and how your body's feeling.
Yep, if your body, sorry, go ahead.
There's always modifications to do, right? So we're gonna show the amped up version with the kicks first, but we will also show you variations. Just like in any workout you do, in any sport, there are always modifications you can do. For us, it's gonna have, how do we get the same timing, the same geography, the same shape, but within that framework, we can modify the steps. Maybe instead of kicks, we're doing taps or steps, and we bring down the complexity a little bit.
Right. Okay, so full version, again, leads are doing 3 sets of kick, hold, kick steps. Follows are doing a kick, hold, kick, hop. With
Do you want to do one version where you call your steps and one where I call my steps?
Yep. Okay, so this one's gonna be me. 5, 6, 7, 8. Rock, step, kick, hold, kick, step, kick, hold, step, kick, hold, kick, step, rock. So that's what the leads are doing. Follows 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Rock, step, kick, step, hold, kick, hold, kick, hold, step, step, rock. So I spend more time on one leg. I spend a lot of that circling, hopping on my right leg in the full-blown version, the unmodified version. So what can my lead do to help me? Think about it this way. We talk about, again, if you were at the roller rink, remember when you do the whip with the roller rink and the person in the middle is the center of the circle, and they're traveling very tightly while the person on the end is whipping around. The tighter the lead makes this move and the less you travel, the easier for you. Also easier for me. If we are both circling, I have to go even further. The tighter the lead is, the easier it is for me to whip around, and the shorter the distance I have to travel. So really leads, I encourage you to spin in place as much as possible and to keep things pretty secure and snug, because the follows are going around the outside of the circle.
Right. Do we need to do this again, or are we doing the next move?
No, there's more to break down here.
Okay, so next thing to think about. So again, we've got our hold, kick, hold, kick. Leads. For this final turn, this hand, I'm just going down and around to bring my follow out.
Some of you have learned this trick in the Texas Tommy. It's the same idea. Sometimes when people think of turning their follows, they think of stirring the pot. But actually, in this case, it's more efficient. My arm is connected. I'm already very tight. If you just push, there's a slight suggestion towards Robert, but then down, I'm gonna spin in place. It's a much tighter turn for me than if you stir the pot, and you'll get a faster reaction. And it's easier on my joints.
So again, I'm here, and I just think around and down.
And then he's ready to catch me. And me, what is my default as a follow? Unless I'm doing some styling, my default is usually hands at the waist, because in a normal dance, I don't know what the next move is. I like to be predictable for my lead. I like to keep hands in the safe zone at my waist so that my lead can catch it when they want to.
Okay, so that was the turn, the general geography of how to get that, how to modify it. Easiest modification, if your joints are saying, I can't hop like that, walk it out.
Yeah, so we'll do it another way, and if you watch, It works out the same if I just do steps. If I go step, the timing comes out the same, and I land on the correct foot.
Even if her lead's doing Charleston stuff, she can step.
And vice versa. So remember, either party could do the modification while the other party embraces whatever craziness they want to do. The key is, are you connected? Are you still working as a team? Are you keeping the same timing and the same key hit points? You know? So let's see. Rock, step, kick, step, rock, step. Oh, it worked.
Right? So again, that's very toned down, but you need to pick whatever level of athleticism matches your body.
Yeah.
And
it should feel comfortable and good. And I chose to do step. If you listened, I kind of held. I didn't call it a hold, but it was step, hold, step, hold, because we would have been going kick, hold, kick, you know.
Yeah, kick, hold, kick, hop.
Yeah. So to help me keep the feeling and the rhythm, I was going step. Works out the same. We also had some people who, for some of the moves, decided to tap and put their toe down in some places. So as long as they kept the weight shifts the same, you don't always have to be kicking. If you have those key points where you can rest and rebalance, you can find those moments too.
So, yeah.
So there's a couple different strategies you can take to doing the same move, but in a way that works for your body, your style, and you can play with those things.
Okay.
And you can do it different each day. Some days you want to go full out, other days you don't.
Last thing we did was the Lindy circle, but with the fast Lindy footwork. So again, we're doing the Lindy circle, so we should end up in side-by-side position by the end of this. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rocks. So if you look at that, we cut out our triples. We still had the shape, the geography of a circle, right? So again, I've got my 1, 2. I've met my fellow halfway by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rock step. So I stepped on 8, and then I rock stepped on 1, 2, where I straightened this out. So that's how we use that fast Lindy to get around in that 8 counts. Anything else we should add?
No, I mean, we'll work probably in the next week or two at making it maybe look a little more Charleston-y, but I like getting that feeling and those points of hold, and it's really fun as a follow to hit it on a point and get that.
Yeah.
I think the last thing, is to show it all together.
Right, so
With the audience.
if you are the audience, we have
So you get the orientation.
5, 6, 5, 6, here we go.
We did it!
So that's what it looks like all together. You guys were awesome, and we will see